Dr. Susan Miller will lead us in the davening. It is 11 months since the passing of our very beloved, very, very beloved.
Who wants to respond?
It's your call.
Okay, Ruth Ann? Okay, great, thanks. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha od yalelucha sela.
Ashram shakachalo, Ashram shadanado hav.
Tila leDavid, aramim chalo amelech, baruch chali olam va'ed.
Echoyim avacheka, valalashim chale olam vahed.
Gadol Adonai umhula ma'od, v'ligdulato ein cheker.
Urledor shabbat masecha, igvertecha yagidu.
Adar kevod hodecha, v'divrei niklotecha asicha.
Ezuz naratecha yameru, ugadulatacha saprana.
Zecher abtucha yabiu, v'zikatecha yiranenu.
Anin v'rachim Adonai, erach apay megadol chesed.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Duchan Adonai kol maasecha, b'chasidech yivarechucha.
Kevod malchutecha yomeru, gevuratecha yedaberu.
Yehudi bnei Adam devrata, v'chavod hadar malchuto.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, v'mshaltecha b'chador v'ador.
Samech Adonai l'chol haneflim, v'zokef l'chol hakefufim.
Einecho elecha yisaberu, v'tanotem lahem et achlam bi'ito.
Teach yad yadecha, u'maspir l'chol charatzon.
Tzadik Adonai b'chol derachav, v'chasid b'chol ma'asav.
Karav Adonai l'chol karav, l'chol asher kruhu ve'amet.
Ritzon yireav ya'aseh, v'et shavotam yishma v'yoshiyeh.
Shemir Adonai et kol haba, v'et kol harshim yashmid.
Tehilat Adonai yidaber pi, v'vorei kol basar shem kodsho le'olam va'ed.
Anak nevarech ya, me'atov yad olam, hallelujah.
Anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata v'yad olam, hallelujah. Uva l'tzion goel u'shvei fesha, v'Yaakov ne'um Adonai. Hi, Julie. My sister-in-law. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech haaretz kevado.
We're at the bottom of 560.
V'yivtechu v'cha yodei shemecha, ki lo azavta dorshecha Adonai. Adonai chafetz l'man tzidko, yagdil Torah v'yadir.
We rise, Chatzi Kaddish, 564.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei rabbah.
Amen.
Yom adivrach yirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon, v'chayedecho ben Yisrael, v'agalav yizman kari, v'yamru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei rabbah, mevarach le'olam olamei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalav, shemei dekudusha barechu, ve'lamin kol birchata, v'shirata tishbachata, v'nechamata damiran v'yoma v'yimru. Amen.
We turn to page 566, the middle of the page, the top. The service for Shabbat.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, u'devar Adonai mirushalayim. Baruch shenatan Torah, li'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Gadlu l'Adonai iti, u'neromim l'Shemo yachdav. L'chol Adonai hagadolah, v'hagavura v'tiferet v'netzach v'hahod. Ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz l'chol Adonai, hamacha v'hamit naseh l'chol ha'rosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavu la'adam raglavu. Kadosh hu, Romamu Adonai Eloheinu, v'yishtachavu lahar kacho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu, v'atem hadavekim b'Adonai Elohechem chayim kolchem hayom.
May be seated. The Torah portion this Shabbat afternoon is Vayakhel Pekudei. It's the end of the book of Exodus. We have really made a transition from patriarchs and matriarchs to a nation in the making, slaves for hundreds of years. Our connection is our tribal connection. And then we leave, we run away, we escape. And the challenges mount at every turn. And at last, we're making major steps into being an organized and formal nation with constitution and institutions. And we are reading in this parsha how the calendar and the canon combine to define and map the path of our people as a nation. Susan, were you going to read today at all?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay. So, Vayakhel is related to the word kahal, to gather, and the word for community is kehilah. If you notice for Chizuk Amuno, there often is an abbreviation, a contraction of kuf, which is Kehila Kadisha, the sacred community. And the text reflects this transition in the direction that we go. Vayakhel Moshe, Moshe calls the organized community and shares with them the rules and the laws that define organization. We're on chapter 35 in Exodus, verse 1. What page, Jeffrey?
Page 552 in Eitz Chaim.
Page 552 in Eitz Chaim. Okay, Susan, if you please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Vayakhel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayomer alehem ele hadvarim asher tziva Adonai la'asot otam sheshet yamim te'aseh melacha Uvayom hashvi yeh lachem kodesh Shabbat Shabbaton ladonai kol ha'osevo melacha yumad lo tiba'aru esh v'chol moshvotechem Yom HaShabbat.
Beautiful. Thank you, Susan. Jeffrey, would you read for us the English? And note again, the word Vayakhel, which we read, it's not in English. And then there's also a term of Eidah, which is a closer, more distilled selection of the Kehillah, which is more general. And Eidah are those who are in close contact and eyewitness community. Jeffrey, please.
Moses then convoked the whole Israelite community and said to them, "These are the things that the Lord has commanded you to do. On 6 days work may be done, but on the seventh day you shall have a Sabbath of complete rest, holy to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it shall be put to death. You shall kindle no fire throughout your settlements on the Sabbath day."
Very brief, to the point, and very powerful. And just to note that the last sentence that Jeffrey translated, "You shall not kindle any fire in your communities," the Karaites take this literally. So if you have a light that's lit before Shabbat, let's say candles, they are not allowed to burn through Shabbat even though you lit them before Shabbat. And that's the source where we, as conventional Jews, if you will, normative Jews, have insisted that we must have a chont, a hot dish. The word chont really is related to the French chaud, which means hot. And the halachic literature says if you come to a Jewish home and they do not have a hot steaming dish on Shabbat, then they're suspected of being Karaite, that there has to be a hot dish. And we don't know of anyone that does not light Shabbat candles, even though the Torah has nowhere that we need to light candles for Shabbat. And this is our community, we're community of interpretation that continues through the ages. Susan, before I make the memorial prayer, would you share with us something special about Mom that you think stands out?
Well, one thing that I learned is no matter how sick you get, you are always a mother. So that's what my mom taught me.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I have another question for you. You've been coming to Minyan practically every day. Share with us some response that's developed over the last 11 months.
Well, this is the third time I've done Minyan for 11 months. And the reason I do it is because there is a story that I heard or read somewhere about a rabbi who had two beloved sons, and something happened and they both died. And when his wife was afraid to tell him because she thought it would kill the rabbi because he loved them so much. And when she told him the news, he basically dropped down and said Kaddish as a means of thanking God for whatever time that he had. But he realized that these children were like precious jewels, and you have to return them to the rightful owner at some point. And so that is why I come to Minyan, because eventually you have to return things and people, but you also have to say thank you.
By the way, the story is about Rabbi Meir and Beruria, his wife. And Beruria is, right?
Yeah.
And if I remember, she said to him, he kept asking, where are the kids? And then after he said, make kiddush or eat and so forth, and then she said to him, if somebody gave you precious jewels and he came to get them, what would you do? Of course, I'd give it back to them.
Back.
And she says, well, our jewels have been taken away from us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the story.
And it is from his wife, Beruria, that we learn that we don't comfort mourners on Shabbat formally. She is a very bright presence in our Mishnaic tradition. Ira, I want to take just a moment. Would you share with us a reflection at the end of 11 months for Mom, please?
I don't know. I've had an advantage over most of you. I have actually spent the entire 11 months in the sanctuary. And it was a very valuable connection for me. It also gave me an opportunity to serve my community because I created the live stream, the Zoom link, and everything else for my sanctuary. And this was one of my reasons for wanting to do that, was because, I don't know, for me, saying Kaddish in the sanctuary was more meaningful. It gave me more of a connection to my parents, to my mother.
Thank you. I asked that of, and I happen to have an added connection to Mom and Dad because Dad would come to Minhah, he'd come to my classes, and Mom I would see. Something that is special that you learned from your mom that you would share?
You know, I've just discussed this with my rabbi. We had lunch with her an hour ago. Anyhow, we were just discussing her connection to her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, that they were her. She never forgot about them at any time in her life, including in the bad days. She would always remember her grandchildren.
Beautiful.
And ask how they were. So I guess that goes along with Susan's statement that she's always a mother.
Yes. Thank you. Mom's name is Esther Bat.
Moshe Svi Vishendel.
אל מלא רחמים שוכן במרומים, אמצעי מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, את נשמת אסתר בת מוישה צבי ושנדל, שהלכה לעולמה, בגן עדן תהא מנוחתה. אנא ברחמים, הסתיריה בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen.
Thank you, Moshe.
Thank you. And Mom's presence is a blessing, and Mom's memory is a living blessing indeed, indeed, indeed. Second Aliyah, Ruth Ann, would you read for us from verse 4 through verse 10, please?
Vayomer Moshe el kol adat b'nei Yisrael lemor, ze hadavar asher tziva Adonai lemor, kechu meidchem truma l'Adonai, kol nediv libo, yevi ha'et trumat Adonai, zahava chesef unechoshet, ותכלת בארגמן, בתולעת שני ושש ועזים, באורות אלים מאוד עמים, באורות תחשים בעצי שיטים, בשמן למאור, ובשמים לשמן המשחה, ולקטורת הסמים, והבני שוהם והבני מילואים, Leifud v'lachoshen, v'chol hacham leifachem, yavu v'ya'asu et, kol asher tziva Adonai.
Beautiful. Jeffrey, please, translation.
Moses said further to the whole community of Israelites, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Take from among you gifts to the Lord. Everyone whose heart so moves him shall bring them. Gifts for the Lord, gold, silver, and copper, blue, purple, and crimson yarns, fine linen and goat's hair, tanned ram skins, dolphin skins, and acacia wood, oil for lighting, spices for the anointing oil, and for the aromatic incense, lapis lazuli and other stones for setting for the ephod and the breastpiece. And let among you who are skilled come and make all that the Lord has commanded."
Beautiful. The list is just, as it goes on, describing in great detail, indeed, what it took to build the Mishkan and the experience of knowledge that is described as the wisdom of God who planted that knowledge within us. Is there another yortzeit today that we need to make a Dr. Krause? Ed, how are you, my friend?
My father's side.
Shabbat Shalom. You have
Shabbat Shalom.
yortzeit tonight?
Yes,
For?
yes. My father.
Would you share with us a memory about your father, please?
Well, he'd be smiling. He lived with his children and his granddaughters with his great granddaughters with me now.
Wonderful.
Been looking at his picture all day and the candle.
And when did he emigrate from Europe, or was it his father?
My father's family came over. The Krause side came here in the 1870s, 1880s. Half the Krauses are left were killed at Auschwitz.
Right.
Half are here.
For those of you who probably don't know, Dr. Krause took care of my father in the 1980s, I believe, late
1978.
1978. Thank you. And we've bonded ever since. Amazing. What is Dad's Hebrew name, please?
It would be Zev ben Menachem ve'Esther.
Thank you. El Rachamim Shochein Bamromi Tzeh Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina B'ma'alot Kedoshim U'Te'orim Kezohar Akiya Mazirim Et Nishmat Ze'ev ben Menachem ve'Esther Shalach לעולמו בגן עדן תהי מנוחתו.
Can you hold my shoulders
אנא
like
ברחמים הסתרהו בסתר
take me
כנפיך
out?
לעולמים מוצאו ביצוע החיים את נשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתו וינוח בשלום המשכבו ונאמר Amen. Well, for many good years and good health and good steadfast joy, your beautiful grandchildren always. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
And we're going to ask Sandy if you don't mind to read the last Aliyah, chapter 35, verse 11.
Et hamishkan, et ahalav, et michsehu, et karasav, et karashav, et berichav, et amudav, et adanav, et haaron, et badav, et hakaporet, ve'et paroch et hamasach, et hashulchan, ve'et badav, ve'et kokelav, ve'et lechem hapanim, ve'et menurat hamaor, ve'et keleha, ve'et neroteha, ve'et shemen hamaor, ve'et mizbach hakatoret, ve'et badav, ve'et shemen hamishcha, ve'et katoret hasamim, ואת מסך הפתח לפתח המשכן, את מזבח העולה, ואת מחבר הנחושת אשר לו, את בדיו ואת כל. I'm sorry, Moshe, the thing is out of control.
Yeah, just go ahead. We're good. את הכיור ואת קנו.
It won't be quiet. I'm sorry, will you do it?
All right, I'll just go on reading it. Thank you. את הכיור ואת קנו, פסוק י"ז. את כלי החצר, את עמודה ואת אדניה, ואת מסך שער החצר, את יתדות המשכן, ואת יתדות החצר, ואת מיתריהם, את בגדי השרד לשרת בקודש, את בגדי הקודש לאהרון הכהן, ואת בגדי בניו לכהן, ויצאו כל עדת בני ישראל מלפני משה. Jeffrey, please read for us the translation.
You were commanded to make the tabernacle, its tents and its covering, its clasps and its planks, its bars, its posts and its sockets, the ark and its poles, the cover and the curtain for the screen, the table and its poles and all its utensils, and the bread of display, the lampstand for lighting, its furnishing and its lamps, and the oil for lighting, the altar of incense and its poles, the anointing oil and the aromatic incense, and the entrance screen for the entrance of the tabernacle, the altar of burning, the altar of burnt offerings, its copper grating, its poles, and all of its furnishings, the laver and its stand, the hangings of the enclosure, its posts, its sockets, and the screen for the gate of the court, the pegs for the tabernacle, the pegs for the enclosure and their cords, the service vestments for officiating in the sanctuary, the sacral vestments of Aaron the priest, and the vestments of his sons for priestly service. So the whole community of Israelites left Moses' presence.
Thank you. And I think we see in great detail, as we should, what the Israelites were committed to do with their energy, and that's what's required if you're going to stay on the path, to focus and find a proper expression for the great vital force. This concludes our reading of Parshat Vayakhel Pekudei. We continue on page 570. Ki lekach tov natati lachem. Susan, please.
כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורתי אל תעזבו, עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בה, ותמכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם.
We recite the Chatzi Kaddish, page 572.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ביום
Amen.
מלכותי וימלך מלכותי בחייכם וביומכם ובחיי כל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב אמרו אמן. שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיא. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudusha baruch hu Elamin kol berchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata damiran v'yomot v'imru
Amen. We recite the Amidah silently, pages 574 through 584, I think. You'll see the end. In silence, 574. Whenever you're ready, Susan, we'll start the repetition of the Amidah on the inside back cover. When we come to the Kedusha on page 576, we rise and respond to the Kedusha, and then we may sit, and Susan will finish.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor V'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Chasodim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'zocher chasdei avot, u'meviko el livnei v'neihem l'man shemo b'yahava. Melech ozer u'foked u'mashiach u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham u'foked Sarah.
Amen.
Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye metim atah rav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'marid hakashem, mechakel chayim b'chesed, mechaye metim barachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofei cholim, u'matir asurim, u'mekayem emunato l'shenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, u'mido melach, melech me'mido mechaye matmiya Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai,
Oh,
Chayei hametim.
Amen. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Hashem shemagdishim אותו בשמי מרום, תולי הנביאך וכעזר זה ואמר.
מקדש שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשם הרום, ככתוב ביד נביאך וכרזל זה ואמר.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך על הארץ כבודו, לעומתם במהירות.
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech haaretz kevodo, L'matam baruch yomeru.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
Baruch kevod Adonai mimkamo, divrei kachecha katuv lemor.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם מלך ציון, לדורדור הללויה.
Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Sion l'dor vador, hallelujah. L'dor vador nagid gadlecha, netzach netzachim kedushatecha nakdish. B'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed, ki el melech gadol v'kadosh atah. Baruch atah Adonai,
Barshemo.
Kadosh.
Amen. May be seated. We continue on page 578.
Ata echad v'shimcha echad umi ke'amcha Yisrael. Goy echad ba'aretz. Tiferet gedula Vateret Yeshua, Yom Menucha Ukdusha le'amcha natata, Yom Menucha Ukdusha le'amcha natata, Avram Yagel, Yitzchak Yiranim, Yaakov uvanav Yanuchuvo, Yaakov uvanav Yanuchuvo. Menuchat ava undavar, menuchat emet v'emunah, menuchat shalom v'shalva, v'hashket v'betach, menuchat shalema, sha'ata rotzeh ba, yakiru vanecha, v'yed'u ki mi'itcha hi menuchatam, v'yamenuchatam yakdishu et shemecha. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu, ritzevim nuchatenu, kadshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chalkenu b'toratecha, sabenu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha, v'taher libenu le'avdecha be'emet, v'chanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu, v'yahava v'ratzon Shabbat kadshecha, v'yanuchu v'Yisrael mikadshe shemecha, Baruch atah Adonai mikadshe Shabbat.
Amen.
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu b'yamcha Yisrael tfidulatam, v'hashevet advoda livir beitecha, u'tefilatam b'yava tekabel b'ratzon, u'tehila ratzon tamid, avodat Yisrael amecha. V'techezena einenu b'shuvcha l'tzion b'rachamim. Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shchinato l'tzion.
Amen.
Modim anachnu lach. Hatov kilo chalu rachamecha, v'hamrachim kilo tamu chasadecha, me'olam kivinu lach, v'al kulam yitparach, v'yitramam shimcha makenu tamid li'olam va'ed, v'chol chachayim noducha sela, v'halalu et shimcha be'emet, ha'el yeshuatenu, v'ezratenu tzela, Baruch atah Adonai, atah Balachana Elahadao.
Amen.
Shalom Rabba Yisrael Amcha V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Tasim Le'olam Ki Atahu Melech Adon L'cha Shalom V'tov Be'einecha Levarech et Amcha Yisrael B'cha et U'v'cha Sha'a B'shlomecha Baruch Atah Adonai Amivarach et Amo Yisrael B'Shalom.
Amen. Page 596, Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamal divrach yirutei v'yam lich malchutei b'chayachanu v'yamechanu v'chayedecha beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen.
Yehi Shmei
Rabba
Rabba
mevorach li'olam
Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitala shmei dekudesha
Lecho.
le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata damiran b'yama v'yimeru
Amen.
Kabal Tzulaton V'uton Decho Yisrael Kadama V'uhandu V'shmaya V'yimeru
Amen.
Yehi Shlomo Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimeru
Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'mromav Huya Aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimeru
Amen. Aleinu 598.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula liotzer bereshit
Reshit.
velo asanu kigoye haratzot velo samanu k'nitzachot hadoma shelo samchalkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu karim Umishtachavim umodim
Lifnei Melech
Melech Malchei Hamlachim
HaKadosh.
Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Shema Yisrael. Reino Elokeinu.
Takatu b'toratecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad, U'shemo echad.
Thank you, Susan. Yishar Kochach. Beautifully done. We recall with love those who gave us life and shared life with us, those who are still with us and inspire us. His Yortzeit is the 22nd of Adar, Shabbat, March 6th, the year 2021. The following names are listed in our perpetual memorial at Chizuk Amuno and are inscribed in our hearts and our souls. Mamie Brenner, Emmanuel Farber, Sylvia Freibush, Emily Hyman, Sally Jenkins, Anna Capper, Anna Kramer, Vernon Krause, Morris Oletsky, Harold Rosenberg, Anna Rosenblum, Jenny Sagner, Mildred Siegel, Rachel Silberstein, Jenny Thaler, Irving Ullman. And of course, we remember Esther, dear Esther, who's 11 months or up today. Jeffrey, do we have somebody else? No, that's it. Okay. Yortzeit and Mourner's Kaddish, page 600. Susan, please lead us.
Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamad divrach hirutei v'yamlech malchutei. V'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayetachol be'Yisrael. V'agalav izman kari v'yamru amen.
Amen. Yesh me'avarach le'olam v'yam.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'richu
Lechu.
le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran v'yama v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Eshkoyach, Susan. We're going to turn to page 200 for the evening service. And Susan, since it is 11 months and a special day, would you be kind enough and lead us in the evening service of Barvit? Page 200, please. We rise.
Ve'hu rachum yichaper avon ve'lo yashkit v'hir bala shiva po ve'lo yahir kol chamato Adonai Oshia Hamelech Ya'anenu V'yom Kareinu Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach
Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
May be seated.
El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'ma'ari B'Ravim.
Amen.
Avtocha tatzir mimenu leolamim. Baruch ata Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miodecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha v'letecha b'derech uv'shaftecha uv'kumecha u'kashartam liot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'yisharecha v'haya L'man yirbu yamechem v'imei v'nechem al ha'adama asher nishba Adonai lavotechem latet lahem ki mei hashamayim al ha'aretz vayomer Adonai al Moshe lemor daber el b'nei Yisrael v'yamarta lehem V'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei bigdeihem l'dorotam v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf b'tzil techelet v'yalachem l'tzitzit uritem oto u'zchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam V'lo taturu acharei levavchem v'acharei nechem אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותוי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We are in the middle of page 204. 204.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה בני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילתו מלכותך ובניך בוקע יום לפני משה, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל.
Amen. Page 206, the top.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני שומר עמו ישראל לעד.
Amen. The
ברוך
middle of
אדוני
206.
אמן ואמן. כי המלכות שלך היא ולמדה תמלוך בכבוד, כי אין לנו מלך אלא אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך בכבודו תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ועל כל מעשיו.
Amen. We rise, page 208, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ויעמד דברי חירותי וימלך מלכותי בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, והגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן.
יהי שמי
מבורך לעולם עולם ימיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקדושה. לעילם עם כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בימה ויאמרו Amen.
We recite the silent Amidah on pages 210 to 220. Please remember to include on page 212 at the top, Atachonen La'adam Da'at, the passage for Motzei Shabbat. Page 212 at the top, the indented paragraph.
We continue on page 222 with Kaddish Shalem. Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divrach Yerute, v'yamlich malchute, b'chayachon v'yamechon, v'chayedecha beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'yimru, amen.
Amen. Yehi shmei Olam v'rach l'lamonei amaya.
Amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, Yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalash me'dekudasha,
Richu.
v'yichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran b'yama v'yimeru,
Amen.
Shabbat zlatan v'utam, Decha Yisrael kadam v'handi v'shmaya v'yimeru,
Amen.
Shloma Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu, V'yakol Yisrael V'yimeru,
Amen.
Ya'aseh Shalom B'mramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'yimeru.
Amen. We turn to page 700 for Havdalah. And although it's called Havdalah, it is an act of Kiddush and consecration. And so we had 3 meals, Shalosh Sudas, we have 3 Kiddushim, and we bring together wine and fire and spices to indicate the change of holiness from Shabbat to Yom Chol. And please God, bring us a good week. Savri Manan, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei minei besamim. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei meorei haesh.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המבדיל בין קודש לחול, בין אור לחושך, בין ישראל לעמים, בין יום השביעי לששת ימי המעשה. ברוך אתה אדוני, המבדיל בין קודש לחול. מבדיל בין קודש לחול, חטאותינו ימחול. זרענו וכספנו ירבה כחול. הכוכבים בלילה, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, הגות אבוך, הגות אבוך, שבוע טוב, שבוע טוב, אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשבי, אליהו, אליהו, אליהו הגלעדי, במהרה בימינו יבוא אלינו עם משיח בן דוד, עם משיח בן דוד, אליהו הנביא, אליהו התשבי, אליהו, אליהו, אליהו הגלעדי. Gut gewünscht Woche, Mazel, Parnasse, Hatzlocha, gesund, Stock Market, alle gute Sachen. Amen, Amen, Amen. Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teit gedula liotzer bereshit shelo asanu kigoyeh haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishpachot hadama shelo samchalkenu kahem v'lo aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu karim u'mishtachavim u'modim לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל ארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad, u'shemo echad.
First of all, I'd like to say to Susan on behalf of the Minyan and the congregation, Shavua Tov, Yishar Kochech, beautiful davening. I hope you keep coming and sharing with us your voice and your spirit. And when I see you, Mom and Dad are right here in front of me, as they are anyway. But you are just a beautiful, sweet, wonderful presence. Thank you, Susan.
Thank
You add so much to me personally and to the Minyan. We recall with love those who gave us life and those who shared life with us and are still very much with us, whose names are listed in our perpetual memorials at Chizuk Amuno, whose yortzeit is the 23rd of Adar, Sunday, March 7th, 2021. Following names are inscribed in our hearts and souls: Solomon Aarons, Sarah Abramson, Edgar Askin, Irvin Blumenfeld, Daniel Carasso, Russell Dennison, Chaim Dickman, Albert Erdman, Eda Galoon, Ray Goldstein, C. Bertram Hofberger, Elia Hoffman, Isidore Lapidus, Louis Morris, Edie Rosen, Lillian Rosenberg, Esther Taylor, Sam Verstandig, Harry Zell, and Helen Ziskind. Jeffrey, did I get everyone? I guess I did. Yortzeit and Mourner's Kaddish, page 226. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'amad yivrach yirutei ve'yamlich machutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalav v'zman kari ve'emu amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lo me'almaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירם בעלמה ועמו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו amen. Once more, Shavua Tov, a good Geben Shvach. Fel Nachamovitz, you inspire us as always, your mere presence. And thank you again, Susan, for your davening and for your presence and for your spirit. And that's what we do, and that's who we are. We as far as we are concerned, the life of the people who gave us life are very much with us, and we live in that presence. Thank you, Dr. Krause, for sharing with you about Dad. I have so much more I want to hear, and for all of you. Nadia Masuda, Shavua Tov, Refuah Shlema, Moshe Liebman, and all of you. Phil, you get the last word.
Shavua Tov, Phil.
Shavua Tov, Phil. Would you say something to us?
So,
Shavua Tov.
All right, we'll take Shavua Tov, Shtika Koda Adami. Irv and Big Randy. All right. Ben, wonderful to
Shabbos.
see you.
Good Shabbos.
A good Vach. Shabbos is over. We're done with Shabbos. Now it's a new week. It's a good Vach. Jeffrey, thank you as always. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please. One more time.
Kumaita Kadra.
Kumaita Trado.
Yes,
I'm sure I mangled it.
Have a good week.
Indeed, for all of us. Thank you. Shavua Tov tomorrow morning at 9:30. And if you have chametz at home, eat it up. Or give it to Mikey. Ed, I've never seen you so smiling and glowing as I do at this moment. Thank you.
eyes in three places.
Yes, indeed. That's the way to be. All right, ladies and
Shavua
gentlemen,
Tov.
Shavua Tov. Take
Shavua
care.
Tov.
Shavua
Shavua
Tov.
Tov.
Shavua
Thank
Tov.
you, Moshe.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I just couldn't quiet Siri, but thank you for the opportunity. And you
No,
did
no,
a fine
no.
job.
Not a problem. No, we'd love to hear you. Always, 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 always. Thank you.